Okay, everyone. So, two more operations to talk about. First things first, we're going to talk about how to multiply decimals. So again, luckily, um, in general, the concept of decimals is so much easier to work with than fractions because again, fractions are just a little bit tedious of how things are done. But addition and subtraction decimals, super straightforward. Remember, the major thing to remember is just aligning the decimal points so then that decimal can follow with its placement in the final answer. However, multiplying decimals is a little different. There is some steps we have to remember. So first things first, the nice part is we multiply as normal. So don't even worry about the decimal placements or anything like that. We don't have to align the decimals in any way, shape, or form. Just multiply as you would. The placement of the decimal will come in after you perform the multiplication. So in this case, once we multiply, again, as normal, don't worry about it. Then the way we determine the decimal point, where it will be, is we want to count the total number of digits after the decimal in each factor. So remember, what do I mean by after the decimal in each factor? So again, remember 4 times 9 is equal to a product of 36. These are the factors of 36. So what we're essentially doing is looking at each number that we multiply to get to the product, and we're counting how many decimals come after those digits. And then the amount in total of each factor is going to be how many digits we have after our decimal. Okay, let's get into an example. So first we have 0.027 times 0.04. So again, treat it just like normal. Don't even worry about a decimal point yet. So align it nicely, and I'm going to go step by step. So again, we have 7 times 4. That gives us a product of 28. Drop the 8, carry the 2. 4 times 2 gives us a product of 8, but again, we still have this plus 2 up top, so we have 10. Carry the 1. And then we have 4 times 0, which is 0, gives a product of 0, but we still have that 1. So we have 1, and then 0 times 4 lastly gives us a product of 0. So we're done with the first column. Oh, let me move this down a little bit. Okay, let's cross these guys out so we know we're done. Remember, when you're multiplying, we are indicating a shift change. So when that happens, or I'm sorry, a shift in place value. So remember, when that happens, we have to indicate that using the 0. So we're moving one step to the left. We're going to put 1 0 then. Well, this part's pretty nice because we have a 0. So we have 0 times 7, 0. 0 times 2, that will be 0. 0 times 0, 0. And 0 times another 0. So we can just say 4 zeros. So that was really nice. And then we add it all up. So in this case, we have 8 plus 0, 0 plus 0, 1 plus 0, 1, 0, 0. Now, this is where the placement of the decimal comes in. So remember, we just multiplied as normal. Notice here, I have 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal in the factor. In the first one, or I'm sorry, in the second factor, I only have 1. So notice after the decimal, I only have 1. This one had 3. This one had 1. So to get the amount of decimals that, or amount of digits that will follow after the decimal in the product, we just take the total of these. So in this case, it will be 4. So we start at the end. So let me just real quick. So therefore, so a symbol in mathematics for therefore, if we have 0.00108, we start at the end of the number and we work our way 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. So therefore, that is our final answer. So again, we just got to count up the amount of decimal places, the amount of digits after the decimal place in the factors, get the total, and that's how much we're going to have in our final answer. Let's do another example. So we have 1.03 times 14. Okay, so again, multiply normally. 4 times 3 gives us a product of 12. Drop the 2, carry the 1. 4 times 0 gives us a product of 0, but we still have that 1 up top, so we're going to drop the 1. 4 times 1 gives a product of 4. So now we're done with that entire column of 4. Now again, we're moving on to the 1, so remember to put your 0. So I have 1 times 3 gives us a product of 3. 1 times 0 gives us a product of 0. And lastly, 1 times 1 gives us a product of 1. So now we add them all up. Remember, we're just continuing the normal steps of multiplication of numbers. Afterward is when we determine how many digits will follow the decimal. So if you notice here, I have 2 digits after the decimal, the 0 and the 3. But what about the 14? Well, 14 is a whole number. We have 0 digits after the decimal because it's a whole number. It's 14 specifically is, again, it's a positive number, so it's a whole number. Well, that means in our final answer, if we're currently dealing with 1,442, well, we start at the end and move our way 2 decimal places. So here we can see the final answer is 14.2. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this up with a story problem. So here we have a case of isopropyl alcohol contains 12 bottles. Each bottle contains 15.95 ounces. How many ounces of alcohol are in each case? So in this, a good tell on whether, because again, you want to start ruling things out with story problems. Remember, when it comes to addition and subtraction, you have to talk about the same thing. Oh, sorry, my TV just went off. You have to talk about the same thing, because remember, in order to add the same thing, or no, to add the same things, you have to get the same things. Well, notice here, that's kind of a good indication that I'm possibly talking about division or multiplication. I'm talking about bottles and ounces. Those are 2 different things. So immediately we can rule out addition and subtraction, because again, we're talking about 2 different things. Well, if I know that 1 bottle contains 15.95, well, I have 12 bottles. I want 12 times that amount. So that's what we're going to be doing. So 15.95 times 12. And now we're going to go ahead and perform the multiplication. So 5 times 2 gives a product of 0. Drop the 0, carry the 1. 2 times 9 gives a product of 18 plus 1. Drop the 9, carry the 1. 2 times 5 gives a product of 10, but we still have that 1 up top, so that will be 11. And then we have 2 times 1. Oh, wait, where are we at? Oh, carry the 1. Wait, 1 sec. 5 times 2 is 10. 9 times 2. Plus 1, 19. Carry the 1. 2 times 5. 2 times, okay. 2 times 1 plus 3. Or I'm sorry, plus 1. We get 3. So we're done with all these ones. Let's cross them out. And remember, now we're moving on to this 1. And we're going to multiply it to everyone above him. So to indicate that place value change, you got to put a 0. We're just moving it once over, so 1, 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 9 gives a product of 9. 1 times 5 gives a product of 5. And 1 times 1 gives a product of 1. So now we're going to go ahead and add these all up. So 0 plus 0. 9 plus 5 gives a sum of 14. We still have a 1 to worry about. 1 plus 9 gives a product, or I'm sorry, gives a sum of 10, but we still have that extra 1, so we get 11. Carry the 1. 3 plus 5 is a sum of 8 plus 1, 9. And then we have 9, and then an extra 1. Okay, so let me make sure everything's looking good. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Okay, now that we multiplied like normal, again, now is where the decimal comes in. So let's notice what we got here. Well, how many digits do I have after the decimal here? 2. I have the 5 and the 9. Well, what about 12? Yet again, we run into the same case like the last example. 12 is a whole number. So we have 0 digits after the decimal. So now we can see that we have 2 in total. So we start at the end, move 2 spots over, and we can see that then it's going to go in between and sandwich in between the 1 and the 4. So therefore, remember this is a story problem. So therefore, 191 fourths, what is it, ounces in each case. And that is our final answer. So that is it for multiplication. Again, not too bad. It's just the whole remembering of how we get the decimal point. Okay, that will be it. And we have one more video with division.